It's beer o'clock on Reload Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from BeerBlioTek and it's a can of their Mocha Latte Stout coming in at 8% ABV. How good does this sound? 330 can. It's got the authentic Swedish craft beer sign on the back, which I think is pretty cool. There's a lot of this now and I'm all for it. I'm all for the independent, saying we're independent and we're not owned by Molson Coors or Heineken or Anheuser-Busch. We're independent from all of these people, or Carlsberg. Show your independence. Show it. Because they're jumping in and buying small breweries and pretending to be a small brewer, when all of that profit filters back to the shareholders. And we don't like that crap, do we? We don't like the fact that the man who earned £2 million last year is crying in his bed because he only earned 1.9 million the year after. One finger, tan coloured head, jet black beer in the glass, more or less jet black. There's a little bit of light bleeding through the bottom of the glass there. Good levels of carbonation, but I'm a big fan of BeerBlioTek. I actually met the brewer. I believe his name is Richard. I met him back in May in Norway. It was a fantastic conversation we had. Not just about beer, we talked about the economy, we talked about politics. Yeah, it was good. He's a Scot. He's a Scot living in Sweden, brewing beer for BeerBlioTek. So hello Richard. Right, here we go then. Let's get the aroma. It smells wonderful. Mocha coffee. Just smells like mocha coffee. Chocolate. A little bit of tobacco smoke. Caramel. Bitter coffee, bitter chocolate. I'm already ready to dive into this beer. Cheers, everybody. I'm going back in. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I've just drunk an IPA, or reviewed an IPA, and I just want to clean my palate up a little bit. Really enjoyed the first flavour, but I want to benefit from everything that's in this beer. So here we go again. Wow, there's so much going on. There's a real fight between sweetness here and bitterness. Bitterness from the roasted malt, bitterness from the bitter coffee, the bitter chocolate. And then it moves over to sweet caramel. It starts with sweet caramel, it goes over to bitterness, then it goes back over to sweet caramel. It's quite a sweet stout, if I'm honest, but there's enough bitterness there to balance it. Anything less, if there was a less of a hint of roasted malt here, hint your roasted coffee and your roasted bitter chocolate, then I'd be afraid to say that I wouldn't be too much of a fan, but the bitterness just goes over there enough. It's almost like a sweet aeroplane spiraling out of the sky, and then all of a sudden that bitter arm, the aeroplane's free falling out of the sky, and then that bitter arm just comes out and balances the plane up and just misses the ground, and off we go to Tenerife. So basically it's been saved then by the bitterness in the beer. The bitterness is just saved. It's quite a sweet beer. It's quite a sweet beer. The bitterness balances it out. Just. Let's explain more. I feel the beer it could have a little bit more mouthfeel. It could have a little bit more depth, creaminess, dense imperial stout wrap around the palate. Mocha coffeeness. You think about a mocha coffee, we think about a creamy latte. It's gloopy, it's thick, it's dense. When you call a beer that, a Mocha Latte Stout, when you put that bold on the can, you expect a Scandinavian style, big, thick, fat mouthfeel. It's not quite there. This is such a difficult beer to review because the bitterness saves it from being so sweet, and it's just about thick enough to get away with being a Mocha Latte Stout. But I was expecting a bit more. If I'm completely honest with you, I was really excited about getting this can open and reviewing it and just raving about it, because I've raved about every other beer BeerBlioTek have done. I think the beers are wonderful. But this beer is... You know, you get them hammers in the circus and you give it a fucking damn good swing and you bang, and the thing goes up in the air and you're just missing the bell. This is just missing the bell. It's just not quite getting there. It's a lovely beer, but in terms of quality wise, in terms of what I've had from BeerBlioTek in the past, it's hit the bell and some, you know? It's rung the bell, the weight has gone back down, it's shot back up, hit the bell again, and it's just wonderful beer. But this beer, you've swung with all your might, you've hit the hammer down onto the weight, and it's not quite hit the bell. It's not quite there to give it a Stone the Crows. It's a shame. It's a shame. The beer is quite sweet. It gets saved by the bitterness. The balance of the beer gets pulled round by that bitterness. The mouthfeel could be a little bit more. A little bit more creamy, a little bit more dense. Maybe chuck some more oats in it, maybe next time. It's got the potential to become a wonderful beer. But at the moment it's not quite hitting the nail on the head. So rating for this 8% Mocha Latte Stout by BeerBlioTek, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's a 6 out of 10 from Real Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box, subscribe to our daily beer reviews, give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom! And cheers.